Hello everyone and Happy New Year, and today we'll be discussing the book Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. And this book, it's very different from other books, and if you read Illuminae, you know what I'm talking about. It's not written in your normal narration of this is what the character did, like any other book you read. It's actually written through emails and texting and groups, and this book is so unique in itself to begin with, and I really liked about this book. I listened to the audio while reading this book, and if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it because the audio adds sound effects and you get to hear different characters' voices because there's so many characters in this story. It's crazy. And trying to remember them all get kind of confusing. I highly encourage reading the audiobook with it because it really just enhances the experience of reading this book. A quick brief note on how this story is about, because if you read this, it doesn't really give that much information. There's this place and it's being attacked. And so these two characters, the main characters, Katie and Ezra, they end up escaping, but they end up on two different ships. And now there's this one ship who's trying to attack all these other ships and trying to like destroy them and stuff. And Katie and Ezra, they're kind of coming back and forth because Katie is actually a really good hacker. This kind of reminded me of the Book of Legend a little. And she's this really good hacker, and she's able to hack into all these systems. And got a lot of information now. Well, the ship Ezra's on is more like the fighter ship. You gotta try to stop this crazy ship called Lincoln from destroying everything. But at the same time, there's also this command of the ship called Aiden, and turns out he's actually working against everyone. So it's kind of hard to say which is who, because we also have this thing going on in Bay 4. And of all these people who are trying to kill each other because of everything that's going on. But really, no one can really trust anyone in this book. And I hope you liked it too if you read it, because it's really good. If you haven't read it, go read it. I highly recommend it. So let's get started with this book. It took me so long to get into this book. I'll admit, I could not get into it for the longest time, and I think I love the idea of it. I like the storyline. It's just I kind of wish there was more traditional storyline, because I found reading in the text messages and the emails and the interviews, I couldn't get the full feel for the book. I couldn't like get into the characters' minds and relate to them. It's kind of not feel like I was like reading it and into the story. I kind of felt like, here's this document and I'm just gonna read it and observe it. Not, wow, I am this girl who's traveling through the space thing trying to stop this crazy ship. I don't know. I didn't enjoy this book as much as I wanted to enjoy it. I'll probably maybe read the second book. I'm not sure. Like I said, I kind of have a love-hate relationship for this book. One thing I do like, I like the language in this book. Everybody's kind of like sarcastic. The two main characters are really sarcastic, so they're kind of like really funny and they'll make you laugh. I liked how it was like the texting between the two main characters. You knew it was texting. It didn't come out and say this was texting, but you knew it was texting by the language they used. Like for you, instead of spelling Y-O-U, they just put the letter U, and that was like really creative. Like I said, this book is very creative. Just it's not what I wanted, and I actually like how some of it looks. Like there'd be pages where there'd just be like one word, like a few words to explain things, but yet it's beautiful. Look at that. I mean, it's a very interesting book, and I do highly recommend it. Because swearing apparently is just not allowed, and it was funny how their part where there would be where they'd swear, and it'd be blanked out like,
I'll put this in a formal document. So
I like the parts where it was written like a play where you'd have conversation between two people. And the emails I like too, and the journal entries. It was just like, I loved it at the end when we find out the Illuminae group is not really a group. It's actually Katie, and this is all the information she has gleaned from this whole mess that has happened. Turns out the villain in this, in a way, is Ezra's mother, and so she's kind of blackmailing everyone here. And so Katie got this information, so she's like, okay, here's your information, now leave me alone. And it's kind of like a plot twist, because you think Aiden here is the villain, because Aiden actually is working against, he's ordering all these weird commands about people and stuff, and then so I think, okay, it's Aiden who is kind of cool to think, okay, now these are the files Katie is claiming. So you're basically reading it in a way from the perspective of the villain. It's a theory I have. I think we are reading this from the perspective in the villain way, because she has to read these files that Katie has got. So it's basically this kid's like, here's your files, now read it. But turns out, I don't know what to think about this Aiden character, because at first you think he's a bad guy, but then he kind of turns into a good guy near the end. He just opens up Bay 4 and chaos went down in this last chapter. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I finished this book in like 3 days, and it was just amazing. And it's a very different style book. So just go read it, and I can tell you'll like it. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye!